In the heart of the central provinces of British India during the early 21st century, a shadow loomed over the land. A shadow with piercing eyes and a taste for human flesh. This ominous presence was not a figment of folklore or a creature of myth. It was real, it was deadly, and it was known as the Devilish cunning Panther. A predator that prowled with such stealth and savagery that it was unlike anything the inhabitants had ever encountered before. The Panther's reign of terror spread across the villages like wildfire. Its attacks were not random acts of nature, but a calculated strategy of a predator at the peak of its prowess. The unsuspecting villagers were its prey, and it hunted with a chilling efficiency that left the communities paralyzed with fear. Tales of its gruesome exploits circulated through the region, chilling the blood of even the bravest souls. Each account was more horrifying than the last. Men, women, children, no one was safe from the Panther's relentless onslaught. It struck swiftly without warning, leaving no survivors to recount the horror. Its victims were not merely statistics, but individuals whose lives were abruptly and cruelly ended. The Panther's cunning was as staggering as its appetite for human flesh. It moved silently through the shadows, its eyes glowing with a sinister light, always watching, always waiting. It was a creature of the night, emerging from the darkness to claim its victims before vanishing without a trace. Its presence was felt more than seen, a chilling reminder of the predator that lurked in the shadows. The fear it instilled was palpable, a constant dread that hung over the villages like a dark cloud. The villagers lived in constant terror, their lives dictated by the unseen threat that stalked them. Their homes became their prisons, their nights filled with dread as they waited for the sun to rise and banish the darkness. Its killing spree seemed unstoppable as it moved from one village to the next, leaving a reign of terror in its wake. The devilish cunning Panther was not just a predator. It was a nightmare that had come to life, a chilling reminder of the ruthless laws of nature and the terrifying power of a beast unleashed. But amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged. A lone British hunter, driven by a sense of duty and a desire to protect the innocent. This was no ordinary man, but one who had dedicated his life to understanding and confronting the wild beasts that lurked in the shadows of the Indian jungles. His name was known only to a few, but his reputation preceded him. He was a man of resilience, determination, and unwavering courage. With the weight of the villagers' hopes on his shoulders, he ventured into the dense wilderness. His quest was perilous, filled with uncertainty and danger at every turn. Yet he pressed on, guided by the faint traces left behind by the elusive Panther. Each broken twig, each disturbed patch of earth, each silent whisper of the wind held a clue to the path of the beast. By day, the hunter navigated the labyrinth of the forest, his keen eyes scanning the undergrowth for signs of the Panther. He moved with a stealthy grace, his every step a calculated dance with nature, as he sought to become one with the wilderness. As night fell, he would perch himself high up in the trees, his gaze fixed on the moonlit expanse below. The eerie silence of the night was punctuated only by the distant hoot of an owl or the rustling of leaves in the wind. Yet he remained alert, his senses attuned to the smallest disturbance. Despite the challenges, the hunter's resolve never wavered. He understood that this was more than just a hunt. It was a battle of wills, a testament to the indomitable spirit of man against the raw power of nature. The hunter's journey was a game of patience and perseverance. The Panther was elusive, its cunning unmatched, but the hunter was relentless. He knew that each passing day brought him one step closer to his quarry, one step closer to ending the reign of terror that had gripped the villages. Each step brought him closer to his quarry, but the Panther remained one step ahead, taunting him with its elusive presence. The stage was set, the players in place, and the hunter knew that it was only a matter of time before the final confrontation. Then, one fateful night, the hunter's patience was rewarded. As the moon bathed the forest floor in an eerie glow, the Panther returned, its hunger drawing it back to the remains of its most recent feast. The hunter, perched high in a tree, watched as the creature moved with a quiet, deadly grace. His heart pounded in his chest, the weight of his mission pressing down on him. This was his chance to end the reign of terror. The panther, however, was no ordinary beast. It was an apex predator, a master of its domain. It sensed the hunter's presence, its ears pricking up at the slightest rustle of leaves. With a growl that turned the blood to ice, it lashed out, forcing the hunter to retreat into the shadows. The forest became a stage for a deadly game of cat and mouse, the hunter becoming the hunted. In the inky blackness of the forest, the hunter could just make out the panther's glowing eyes, like two embers in the dark. His every instinct screamed at him to run, to hide, but he stood his ground. He understood that this was a battle of wills, a test of courage and resolve. As the tension mounted, the hunter took a deep breath, steadying his shaking hands. He knew he had one chance, one shot to end this nightmare. He felt the cold metal of his rifle against his cheek, his finger hovering over the trigger. The panther prowled closer, its eyes locked onto his. In a final act of desperate defiance, the hunter fired. The sound shattered the silence of the forest, a thunderous roar that echoed through the trees. The panther staggered, then fell, its reign of terror brought to a crashing end. With a roar that echoed through the forest, the panther fell, its reign of terror finally brought to an end. The hunter stood alone, the forest once again a place of peace. But the memory of the showdown would linger, a chilling reminder of the thin line between man and beast. As dawn broke over the horizon, the villagers emerged from their homes, their fear replaced by jubilation. The specter of the devilish, cunning panther was no more, its reign of terror vanquished by the lone British hunter. The air was filled with a sense of relief that was almost palpable, as if the very land itself breathed a sigh of respite. Laughter replaced whispers of dread, and children once again played under the open sky, their laughter echoing through the villages. The devilish, cunning panther, though now a fallen beast, had etched its legacy into the annals of history. Its tale, one of terror and cunning, would be passed down from generation to generation, a chilling reminder of the predator that once haunted their dreams. But as the forest reclaimed its peace, one question lingered in the minds of all who bore witness to the saga. What dark forces had shaped the destiny of this fearsome predator? Perhaps the answer lies not in the creature itself, but in the tangled web of humanity's relationship with the natural world.